Hi everyone, welcome back to the secret little bonsai garden, to my Bonsai 101 beginner's course. If you just started this course on this lesson, please check my intro video so that you can know a little more about me and you get to know better my garden. Things are getting serious. This is lesson number 1, and today we're going to be talking about tools, supplies, pots, and online sources or useful sources where you can get more bonsai knowledge, or you can buy items, supplies, trees, and so on. Let us start with tools. First, let me say that my advice before you start working on a tree, or before you buy a tree, is to really understand well what will you need, because once you start working on a tree, if you don't have the tools, or the right tools, the right supplies, then you can't really achieve that bonsai looking, or do things in a proper way where your tree will be able to thrive. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind and know is that I will make available, or I will put up somehow in the video, or in other form, a bonsai calendar that will simplify the timing of interventions into your tree. Meaning, when is the right time to repot, when is the right time to prune, to make big chops, to apply insecticide and fungicide, to fertilize. So everything is going to be in a very defined way to make this journey a little smoother. I want you to also know that anything that we're going to talk right now, it's going to be very general, but I will in the next lessons go deep in each subject, in each supply or tool that you need. So I won't develop much. I'm just letting you know what do you need, and later on you'll understand better exactly what to buy, and what is it for, how to apply. So we're going to start with tools. Some things are going to be more expensive than others. I'm going to try to give you the basics and my preferred options for the cheaper option to start. Meaning, I don't advise, or I don't believe that anyone wants to start and spend a big amount of money in tools and supplies. But I have a few options that will be cheap enough for you to understand what you need and evolve from that point on. So I'm going to show you how I started, for example, and what I moved to sometime after. So we have here a very cheap tool set, somewhat more quality. I wouldn't say expensive, because if you talk expensive, I would say Japanese tools are the most expensive. This is actually an American company. I'll talk about that later. Actually, I'm going to do a review on a full set that I have from them, but it is a more expensive option, and that's from working with this, I moved on to this, knowing what tools I can't live without. So let me show you. This is actually a set that I purchased on Amazon. I don't remember the cost of it. I actually have a few of them coming, and one of you will be getting one set, I think, just like this, if they arrive. Keep in mind that they're coming from China. I have an estimated arrival starting today, but I have no confirmation, and to be honest, I'm not even sure if they're gonna arrive or not. But this is a tool set that has basically every tool you'll ever need, and more, but you don't really need them all to start. Although, because it's such a cheap set, I would totally advise you to get one of these, just because it'll give you the opportunity to know which tools you use more, or which tools you really need when you go to a more expensive set, and instead of buying the whole set, you just buy the ones that you really need. The only thing that it's missing over here, it's a chopstick. I don't have a cheap chopstick. Actually, this chopstick is a very long one. Normally they're about this size, and this was, I don't know if this was $5 or $8. It was relatively cheap, and you'll understand better when it comes to repotting. On my lesson about repotting, you'll understand better why this is so important. So this tool set actually comes with 4 or 5 wire samples. So if you're starting and you have a small tree, you can actually understand a little bit more about wiring. We'll talk about that later on. All right, this is a more expensive tool set. As I said, it's from American Bonsai Tools. Their website is americanbonsaitools.com, if I'm not wrong. And on these tools, I chose the ones that I really need, and the ones that I advise for someone that, if you don't want to go from here, start from here, you can start immediately with something like this, or with a better quality tools. This is a wire cutter. You'll need it for the obvious reasons. This is a gene plier. We'll talk about bonsai concepts and bonsai words later on, where I'm going to explain what a gene is. But basically, it's to create deadwood features, or to help with the wiring. You will need this for sure. Chopstick, as I said, needed for repotting. This, you can use a wood chopstick, one of those disposable chopsticks. You can use anything like that. This is a branch cutter. This one is flush. I recommend starting with a flush one if you don't want to buy the both concave and flush. So the difference is that this one cuts flush straight to the branch, and this one has a rounded shape that will cut deeper with a little concave. In some trees it's useful to heal in a different way, but honestly I would choose a straight one to start. And of course, shears to trim thin branches, or to trim the leaves. So I only have 5 tools that I really cannot live without. And most of the times I'm using just this, and that's it. Moving on, I'll have a lesson that will talk just about soil, but I'm going to show you. This is a cheap option. I'll talk about that later on, and it's lava rock, and we'll develop this situation later. My recommendation is that if you can, buy a specific bonsai soil. Do not go for those potting soils in the nurseries. Specific bonsai soil is basically composed with akadama, lava rock, and pumice. And there's a lot of variations in what amount of akadama will that soil have or not. We'll develop this concept later on, okay? Don't worry about it. But yes, if you're gonna repot, I would say that you'll need a bonsai soil. You gotta research. You can research now, but I would advise you just to wait until my lesson and take your conclusions, or just go ahead and do your own research. Fertilizer. There's fertilizer in several different forms. My preference for fertilizer is organic granules fertilizer. It's a slow release fertilizer. You apply it, you leave it on 4 to 6 weeks, and then you remove the old one and put the new the new fertilizer back again. I take this fertilizer, I actually put it in tea bags, and this avoids a lot of situations. We will talk about that later on. I also use Lysol spray to disinfect my tools, so that they don't get some kind of fungus from one tree and pass it on to the next tree. It's a little hard to find right now, but I guess any kind of disinfecting spray will work. I have fungicide, liquid fungicide. I have a liquid insecticide. This is lime sulfur to create dead wood, and this is Super Thrive that I use to repot. We'll talk about everything later on, okay? What do you really need from here? Fertilizer, and most likely you're gonna need a fungicide and insecticide. All right, so moving on to wire. You'll need wire for absolutely sure, unless you use a method of just pruning. But I would say that most of the times we cannot live with wire in bonsai to shape your trees. This is a 1mm wire. I have several from 1mm to 6mm. You will need that, and we'll talk about it later on. All right, pots. So let's talk about pots in a very simple, fast way, because again, we're going to develop this topic later on. You have a ceramic traditional bonsai pot. You have the modern clay pot with different style, more expensive. We have plastic pots, and I also have a little damaged but wood pots. Cheapest pots available, wood pots. I got this from eBay. They're not that cheap, to be honest. I think now it's $20. When I bought it, was less than that. You have plastic pots, and those are going to be your cheap options. You are starting bonsai, and even if you're not starting bonsai, you're starting with a tree that is a regular, I don't know, 1 gallon, 5 gallons, 25 gallons pot. And when it comes to repotting, I don't believe that it's a good idea to go ahead and buy pots like this, which I did, and I regret it completely, and I ended up putting in training pots. And when I say training pots, I mean a wood pot or a larger plastic pot that allows the tree to grow the root system and develop. Also, if you transition from a 5 gallon to something like this, you'll already have a very big root reduction, so it's kind of hard to go from immediately 5 gallons to something like this size or a little bigger. So this will give a little more depth and allow the roots to have a more radial horizontal progression instead of going deep in the pot. Now, if you're a handy person, if you have the tools, my advice would be build your own pot. You'll be able to control the size, and sources are relatively cheap. Just buy some kind of wood that is strong, that can last for a couple of years. And don't forget to put a little bar here so that when you put a drain hole, there's more airflow and the water can just run easier. Although in this kind of pots, airflow is great and drainage is great, and that just means that your roots are going to be thriving and very happy. So let's talk about knowledgeable sources online. First, I'm going to tell you that my advice to understand how to cultivate bonsai, to develop this art, is to first visit bonsai nurseries, get a general perspective, ask questions that you have, although they might seem very basic or not. Go to the local nurseries you have around with bonsai and ask about classes or courses that they have, because that is going to be the best way for you to learn hands-on. I, for example, attended a few classes on a bonsai nursery. I started from there. Then I would just show up to just understand things and talk to people. Um, I visited all the bonsai nurseries that I have in the radius of 10-15 miles, and it's also good if you visit other nurseries to understand that sometimes a tree in a bonsai nursery or a pre-bonsai or just a regular tree is going to be more expensive than in a regular nursery, and you can achieve good results also in a regular nursery. If you don't have that option, then there's more options. But after that, what I did was starting to search online all kinds of information. So I went to so many websites and so much things that my head was just blowing out, and I couldn't have a strategy defined. I couldn't really have a direction. So one of the best things that I did was get into or purchase some bonsai courses online, and I did it at bonsaiempire.com, and I still think that it was the best investment that I've done. From all the ones that I know, this website has the best artists, or one of a few of the best artists. It has things very well organized, and you just have to pay attention to what they say when they do it, what tree, what to do, when, timing, seasons, all that. And honestly, if you're like me, I was with a note sheet in my hand and just writing down everything that I think that it was important information. They are not very cheap courses, but there's cheaper, immediately cheaper, but over time will be more expensive maybe. But there's another option, and for me is Mirai Bonsai. Mirai is probably one of the most technical source of information online. I think his name is Ryan Neal. He goes extremely deep into things on why things are like that. And what I did is I subscribed their services. I think it was about $18 per month, and you have access to this enormous, ginormous amount of content. It's not the easiest content to go through, in my opinion. If they have like an index where you can see where things are, would be better. I get a little lost, so you have to be very objective. You have to be very precise what you're looking for. If you're looking for repot, search for repot, and don't get on all these kind of videos and trainings that they have in the mix, so that you can stay focused on what you really want. So we have a hands-on training through classes in nursery, in bonsai clubs around you. You can also join actually a bonsai club, not a bonsai nursery, but a bonsai club. Search online about bonsai clubs in your area. It's very helpful. You can cross informations out. They will have most likely demos that you can go attend to, get advice and ask questions. And then we have the online courses and online subscription. So bonsai nurseries, regular nurseries, Bonsai Empire courses, and Bonsai Mirai live. After that, one of the things that I did was I started following artists, mostly on Facebook, and I'm going to tell you my favorite artists. Without any doubt, for me, Bjorn is a big inspiration. Bjorn used to have or work with Bonsai Empire, and later on he progressed to his own nursery, which is called Bonsai Bonsai, I think. We have Ryan Neal from Mirai, and we have another one that I really like, which is Morten Albeck for small size bonsai called Shohin. I think it's I love the way he explains things. I love watching his videos. He's addicted to coffee, and I'm addicted to coffee. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to mention this bonsai artist and nursery owner, but I don't really follow him because I got used to Bjorn Bjorholm, which is very good professional technique, very detailed, and Ryan Neal, super technical, super knowledge, above anything that I've seen. We have Martin Albeck just for small trees, and then I discovered Peter Chan, which I'm sure he's great. I mean, he has a huge nursery, successful business, a lot of knowledge, but I just don't see things organized like I like, with the detail that I like, and a little too messy for what I'm used to. So it's about it. Maybe it'll be surprising. Maybe you will for sure teach some things. So I started following those artists, and then I discovered that there's Facebook pages about bonsai, and I would totally advise you to join these pages. The Rookie Bonsai Guy, or actually a group, sorry. We have Bonsai High group, Bonsai High, and All About Bonsai. I also joined 3 auction groups that basically every week there's bonsai related material that is auctioned, and those are 99-cent bonsai, bonsai auctions, and bonsai pot auctions. So we went through where to get knowledge, hands-on, online, pages, artists, and I'll advise something that I ended up doing a little after, and it helped me a lot. Every time I search the content, I see interesting tree, I see an interesting pot, or I see interesting information, I take a snapshot. I have thousands of bonsai pictures in an album called Bonsai, or Pots, or Bonsai Techniques, and that allows me to rapidly just go to that album and search something that I might be looking for. For example, I have a tree in front of me, I'm lost, I don't see what kind of style I want to get from that. I'll just go to that bonsai pictures and just scroll all over them until I find, okay, how about I take from here, and there, and put it in the tree and see what I can get from it. I also save an album per tree that I have. Every time I do intervention on that tree, I take a picture before and I take a picture after. That will just give me a notion of what have I done, when, and the progression over time of the tree. Now, online stores or online sources where you can buy your supplies. I'm going to say that Superfly Bonsai might be my first option for everything in general and affordable. And if you want tools like this and other supplies, I really like American Bonsai Tools. So it's called really American Bonsai Tools. And that will be all for lesson number 1. Remember, I will go deep in each topic over here. My advice is don't work on each tree yet. Go through all the courses, and then start working. Go hands-on and see where it gets you. Remember, everyone that goes to my Facebook page, The Secret Little Bonsai Garden, and watch or look for the post that says Bonsai 101 intro, the first video of these lessons this course. Everyone that follows those instructions, or one of you that follows those instructions, will get set just like this. If they arrive, you'll get a pot and a small tree that I will personally ship to you. Thank you so much. You have a great day.